This time on Custom Works, the world's most complicated Continental Kit just got a little bit more complicated. Let's get to the workshop. Hello and welcome to another amazing episode of Custom Works. If you haven't seen Custom Works before, this is what happens. I build really weird cars, like this truck. We've built others before this as well. This is just one in a long line of badly thought out plans. But basically, we built this. This is a truck in the 60s style. It's asymmetric on the front. It holds a motorbike and everything. This thing is just such a complicated build. It's really coming together at the minute, all based on a London taxi. We don't just do taxis here, but we have done about 6 in a row. But anyway, that's the 60s truck. And this week, we're going to make it even wilder with more moving bits, more animation, more custom craziness. Right, so on the side of the truck here, we've got this cover piece. It just covers this gap between the ramp and the bodywork, makes everything look nice. But of course, this has to have an end to it. So I have this, which is half of the top of a rocket from Bonfire Night. I'm thinking something like that. I'm going to widen this bottom out like that, and then bond that on there, glass over it all. And something like that's what we're going for. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this wider by just getting a piece of wood in there, just pushing this out a little bit. It just needs to be there. So I'm going to do that, and then we can stick one on in a preliminary sort of way, see what it looks like. Glue that piece of timber in there, and now when I offer it up, it almost fits with this, because I'm thinking this and this will be one piece. Well, there'll obviously be a join, this bit will be a bit thicker, line in there, maybe a trim all the way along, and then that holds that. But I'm not thinking that's too bad, so all I really need to do is do the other side. I can have a bit of a position around and just make sure that they're both pointing in the same direction and everything looks, well, you know, as uniform as it can. And sadly, even though these are nice and shiny, I'm going to DA it all off because we're going to have to glass over this because it's only plastic, so all it's really giving us is a shape. So goodbye shiny thing, goodbye. So, all roughed up now, ready to go on there. These are going to actually attach to this part, and then this part will swing out, and then the joint line will be there. But hopefully these will hold this on when the car's driving. I'll probably put a bit over this on there, or some way that connects into it. I don't know at the minute. All I want to do for now though is make it look nice. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue these on with some big lumps of Bondo. Now, I'm not going to use the normal Bondo that I use. I normally use that fantastic stuff. It's very, very fine and nice. I'm going to use U-Pole Easy One because it's just a bit stiffer. It's got a bit more about it. I like this for making shapes, because you can literally just, you know, make the shape in this and it don't just go into a big puddle on the floor like the fantastic stuff does. But anyway, get big blobs of that under this and then try and get them to look as right as possible. Don't forget, cars never existed before, there's no real right way or wrong way, but they've got to look about right, ain't they? Anyway, let's get some filler mix, glue them on. We've stuck those on. I think they're about right. And you know, we were hoping they were going to look like you know, like when like them claws hold a diamond on a piece of jewellery or something. We were hoping that it was going to look a bit like that. And I think we've got a bit of that. I definitely think we might have a bit of that. So, other things I've done. I've also flattened this out as well. I've added this new piece of dye bond over the Continental Kit, and the reason I've done this is we've messed this thing about so much that the actual front outer was more oval than round. I made it round an old truck wheel trim, so now I've got a piece of stainless steel there that I can fill up to, and you know, I know that that is where it's going to be. So I've got just a lot more accurate shape at the back, because before it looked alright, but it was all a bit nebulous, a bit sort of, what shape is this? But now I know it's round and it's looking pretty good. What I'm going to do next, once this is done, I'm going to fill this back and start to blend it into these cover pieces and try and get this and a nice line here and get something to brace these. This is a pretty tough job. Another thing that's got to be done, of course, is this part where this is going to flare up to sort of hold, not to hold the wheel, but just to give it that, you know, the wheel comes up and it's just got that sort of hug to the wheel. So it literally looks like the bike is part of the vehicle, which we're really going for it. Like the bike and the car, it's all one thing. It's all one thing. It's not a bike on a transporter, it's a car with a bike. Totally cool. But I think by the end of today, we should have this all in glass, ready for filling. Actually filmed a lot, and I know, like, a YouTube channel, the key thing you got to do is film the stuff you're doing. But I can show you now. So if you remember, back of the car, we were looking at this and fiberglass in this. Well, now it's cut down, it's starting to take shape as like a little crown at the top. I know this isn't in the centre because the bike's not in the centre at the minute. And if you remember as well, we had the top off of that like firework rocket. We cut it in half and we started to blend those in there. And those are the cap ends for these covers, which cover this big gap here that we don't want to see. When it's in show mode and it's got the bike on the back, we want all that covered. So we're looking pretty good and really 60s show rod. Also, I've done some work on, I was going to say the rear lights, but they're still not actually going to be the lights. I'm going to hide tiny LED lights because they're the lights that'll keep it legal, not necessarily the lights I want though. I want crazy stuff. And what I've done, I have a mould for a massive cone like this big. I'm sure you've seen it. It's what these are from. Obviously these are cut down somewhat. But what I'm thinking is I can have that there with this Frenched bit around it, and this one here, and finish those both in like a polished gold finish. But of course, one thing that happens is when this swings around, it's going to knock these. So the arm that swings this is just behind here. So I've got movement behind there. I've got a pair of draw runners and some springs. So I'm going to make it so that these retract as that opens. So this will retract back, that can open, and then when that closes, this will come back out into its position. That, along with the flap on this bullet that sort of comes up, which I'm sure you've all seen, it doesn't work at the minute because it's got all this Bondo all over it. A lot of animation, so the door's going to open as the door's opening, that thing will flap up, then they retract, and boom, it's open. And it's going to look really cool. Another thing I've done, which I can't actually show you, is I've done a lot of work behind there, so when the door actually does open, everything looks really nice, right up its fundament. All of these bits here are now smoothed out and nice, and everything moves. You know, we had to put these chamfers in here and on this side. Obviously, as always, you know, there's like a big mound of Bondo down here, but that has been just to get this to fit up to there. We can really see, you know, inside it's got this nice drilled brace now. Everything's starting to get smoothed out. Still a lot of rough over there, but we'll get all that done, and this will all be painted nice. But all of that has given us things like this beautiful shape here that, yeah, it does need, still needs a little bit of fine tuning, but that fits up to there, and it's like a, you know, like a nice seamless join from this side, because the seam's like out that way. So you perhaps see it from the front looking back, but from here it just all looks seamless when it shuts. And here it is, shutting. So as you can see, as it comes up, it used to come up to a panel gap, but now this actually overlaps that. So as it comes up, here we go, and all of a sudden everything is all neat and nice and seamless. Obviously that needs a lot more work, but it's getting there. So then, what I'm going to be working on today is getting these bullets into here, and already, this is quite rudimentary. It's not like I've made a, this is the finished thing, but with some draw runners and stuff, like this. It's even got a soft close there. But yeah, I've got this mechanism, which I want to somehow fit these on, so that they retract when this operates. And the way this is going to retract is, as that moves, we'll have that'll actuate a cable, and then the cable will be linked to this bit and move backwards and forwards. So as this opens, it looks like it's going to knock these off, but no, the last minute they retract in and the door opens, the magic flap comes up, and the whole thing opens up and nothing catches. Also, when this opens, this the bit that holds the wheel at the back and these only just miss these wings, and I want the whole thing, when it actually opens up, for it to look like it's going to catch and it's going to knock something off, but it never will. Everything will move out of the way just in time, in like a mechanical ballet. We're going to get that done today, and hopefully by the end of the day we should have these done. At the minute they're just fiberglass cone, and then last night I bonded some piece of steel on here so we can sort of tack and adjust to these steel arms and get it right. You know, sometimes welding and metal is the best because you can just tack and alter and tack and alter, and we can make these fit into these holes just right. So I've sort of cleaned this hole out pretty good, and then this fits in and out of there, and I've got my mechanism, so I'm thinking if I could just sort of weld that on there, then that will just, and it will go in through there. not fully confident this is going to work. I think I might need some sort of cube that sort of fits around here just to guide it in, but I'm working on that in a minute. But those holes are cleaned out now, and yeah, I think a piece of aluminium tubing, might have to roll something, I don't know, something like that anyway, but it's all looking pretty good. These are just sort of set in there, we've got those in there, and then if I get down here,
such smooth action.
Yeah. They're a work in progress, but you sort of get the idea. So, but anyway, so we've bolted them on to the mechanism under there, and we've just got it tucked at the minute. But we just need to make sure that they're nice and centralised in the hole and everything like that. This has been quite difficult. It's like you got to make them go in and out, and then we've got to wire them up to this, so it all happens at once. It has been quite difficult, and I did think that was going to be quite a good demonstration, but it just fell to bits. Anyway, let's see how all of this works under the car. So then, underneath the car, we have got 2 draw runners welded to a piece of plate, and then that it goes out to the 2 things. There's one, and the other's up there, and I know it's not in there because it's at the side of me. But yeah, essentially, they slide on those 2 draw runners, which are under the wheel well. So once this is all done, we're going to have to, you know, put something in there so no water goes on those runners, else they're not going to last very long. This all seems like it's not going well, but it is going to work, and it's going to be all smooth and nice. But we've got it tacked, we've got it close. It's not quite there, but we are going to get there. Right, and so it's not actually finished, but we can show you what we're trying to do. We've not actually got the cable set up, but if I lay under the car and pull and push this like trombone thing, you'll see how it's meant to work. Let's take a look. A tantalising vision of the future. Right, and so the bullet flap, you might notice, we've got packed up on this tape because we've not made the mechanism that makes that work yet. And it used to work just by dragging up here, which you may have seen, but that doesn't work anymore. But that's to come. But what we're looking at here is how this opens, this and this miss here, and also how this misses these rear Dagmars. So let's do it. And there we have it. Up to now, that's as far as we've got with this. We've made it work. We had it sort of working prototype-ish, but really, we've got to get this up on the ramp so we can see under there, make everything good, because at the minute, literally, we're just laying on the floor, you know, fighting against it. So once it's up on the ramp, we'll be able to take that prototype, refine it a bit, and have it so that when this opens, those Dagmars suck into the body, and everything looks cool. But it is going to take a bit more work, but it's more work than I'd like to do laying on the floor, so we'll wait till it's on the ramp and we'll get that finished. Okay, so that's all we've got time for. We will be back next week with more custom works, more 60s truck, more custom madness, more things that go I love that sort of thing. Yeah, I really, really do. Anyway, don't forget, click, subscribe, do all of those things. I will see you next week. Thank you very much. Good night. Massive day today. The 60s truck is finally getting on the ramp.